Hey guys, this is Ray, welcome back to Expansive, and you're watching Shadow Complex Remastered on the PC. Now this is a game fully maxed out on all settings, and the game was originally a 2009 Summer of Arcade Xbox 360 exclusive. It's actually come a long way since then. The remastering has really upped the textures and the frame rate, adding a host of new features, and what you're seeing here now is actually still a very impressive looking game several years on. Basically, the game was originally told by a script from a comic book writer named Peter David, and it's a collaborative effort between Chair Entertainment and Epic Games. Now, Chair are best known for their work on the Infinity Blade games, which are mobile, of course. But this is actually a 2.5D Metroidvania which they put together and is arguably their best work. Basically, the story itself actually runs parallel to the events of an Orson Scott Card novel called Empire, and the actual events of the game will then build into the sequel to the book, which is called Hidden Empire. Empire actually being a Chair-owned intellectual property that was licensed to Orson Scott Card to create the novels. But yeah, what you're basically looking at here is a 2.5D Metroidvania, as we've already established, but there is a fully three-dimensional world along with this. And what you're looking at is essentially your sort of side-scrolling. So the character you're seeing here isn't the main character in the game, and so you're briefly given a sort of almost like a tutorial section to sort of open with a story. But it's done in a nice way that you kind of, it's not really interrupting the action too much, and you're getting to see how the game plays out. It was a highly rated game when it first came out, and this remastering certainly hasn't affected anything in a negative way. It's still as good as it was, if not actually a lot better. You can actually now pick it up on PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. As I said originally, this was a 360 exclusive back in 2009, so that's it's fair play to them. They stayed an exclusive for a very long time. But yeah, I mean, the game is basically, to sort of give you a brief overview of what they've actually added to the remaster. They have added some new master challenges, which basically are for sort of advanced players to really have a go and try some set criteria and set circumstances to try and prove their worth and see how they get along with, fighting against certain challenges. Obviously, the main single player game is still here as intended, but the characters have been up-res as well as the enemies, the environments, and the interface. There are new contextual melee takedowns as well, so the game has been made a bit more gritty and raw. They've actually tried to make it the animations a lot more fluid as well, and it really starts to show, as you can sort of see here on the screen with the flashlights and the moving around. And of course, this was originally a Nolan North game, as he was this is really before Uncharted really sort of exploded, I think, with Uncharted 2. And so, but this still looks a bit like your Nathan Drake, except a bit more trendy, perhaps, with his roll-ups and his jeans. But yeah, as I say, you've got the master challenges, new achievements have been added, there's been improved lighting and post-processing and visual effects. The game also supports a keyboard and mouse if you want to. That's actually what I'm doing here. But you can, of course, use the controller or just the key bindings as intended. There's even actual support for 4K resolution as well if you have a 4K TV or a 4K monitor. So yeah, you can even do that. But basically, Shadow Complex is as good as it's ever been. As I say, perhaps even a bit better. I think when you look at some aspects of the game, you will see that some of it is a bit dated, and it's but that's no fault of the actual. It's the engine, how dated the engine actually is. But the side challenges really do help bolster it a little bit, but on top of that, you also have the 10-hour campaign as well, which is really interesting. It's really well told, really well developed. There's a decent story here. As I've sort of established here as well, the game mechanics are actually very good. They actually flow really well. So you can jump around, you can crouch, go into stealth, to melee takedowns. You can shoot from afar, from a distance. And then there's obviously there's some puzzle elements as well in between all of that, and in between the story element. So it's a really, I mean, to me, I would say this is the game that because obviously with Super Metroid being perhaps the king of this and some of the original Castlevanias, I would say this is the closest we've come to a real sort of, not like a great interpretation of what those games used to be. And there's a lot of examples on different stores, on app stores and on digital distribution stores. But as for me personally, I think Shadow Complex really nailed it and really, really did get it. And I mean, you can see that there's a map overview there, so you can kind of, you've got quite a wide space to cover. And you've obviously got cameras there to avoid, as you can see on the screen at the moment. So you kind of have to wait for the right time to get past them. I'm just about to encounter a locked door here, so again I have to go to certain areas to unlock that door by fulfilling certain criteria. So it's very much one of those, as you say, it's a bit like Super Metroid and Castlevania, where you have to perform certain actions before you may encounter something very early on that you won't be able to do anything with until much later on. And that's again one of the it serves for good memory for a game like this, and it's one of the beautiful things about Shadow Complex as well. But yeah, it's a really solid game. I suppose to give you a brief idea of the story, you play a guy called Jason Fleming, who, as I already alluded to, is Nolan North. And he's in the middle of a government conspiracy where there's a lot of political motives and military upheaval going on. His girlfriend Claire is actually kidnapped. You've seen her being assaulted at the moment. And it's up to you to try and... You're not really fully combat trained, but you have some combat experience, and it's about trying to overthrow an empire with your limited experience and being the normal average Joe who saves the day. So, but there's a lot to like about Shadow Complex Remastered. It's a very well put together remake. It's very affordable on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One at $10.99, and you will definitely not find too many games of this ilk on the store at the moment that are of this quality. And again, you won't find much that's out this year, this month, that actually really compares to it in terms of what the content within it. So yeah, I would highly recommend Shadow Complex Remastered. Again, this is a PC build. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll hopefully see you next time.